Hey, this week a writer's journey is on the road. We are in Kokomo, Indiana for QuadCon, and today I have a special guest, and we're going to talk a little bit about publishing, writing, and creation of characters. So stay tuned. Hey, today I'm joined with my best friend, Charles Davenport, the creator of the Family Orbitz comic book. Charles, when did you first create the Family Orbitz?
I created it in 2019, just before the pandemic hit. I created my first character then,
And your first character was,
Ort.
and he's the father of the
He's
family.
father of the family, and he has a family of. He's a family of four, so it's Ort, Aurora, Ion, and Solar.
So when you're developing your characters, how do you create them, and what's your first step? Is it something you see? Is it something you read? Or is this something comes to you when you're driving? Like when I'm creating new characters, I usually come to me when I'm driving, which is a bad time because you can't write stuff down. So how do you develop your characters?
Well, when I developed Ort, um, originally I was just doodling, is what I was doing. It's hard to come up with an actual original idea or original creation, or what you consider original creation. And I started doodling. I knew I wanted to do a comic book. I just didn't have the idea, and I knew I wanted to do something in space. So I just started doodling different um, options, or sometimes I'll just put uh, my stylus to the iPad that I draw on, and then create like shapes,
How
pretty
much of
much.
yourself and your family or people you know are in your characters?
There's a bit. I try to exaggerate a bunch of the characteristics of our. I do put our family in there, but it's exaggerated to the point to where try to make it comedic in tone.
Okay, because I always felt that your characters are like the Jetsons in feeling. The way your style of art is very kind of retro. Um, because you know how the Jetsons were futuristic,
Right.
and um, that's kind of how your art reminds me of that era of. Was that an influence in you in any way?
I in some respects, I'm kind of influenced not only by the Jetsons, but to be honest with you, I didn't even think they even looked like the Jetsons. I was more geared towards more simplistic animations. Like I, weirdly enough, I like the Powerpuff Girls, but it's more about the art than
Okay,
anything.
right.
I love the simplistic style of that. But I put a twist on our mine. I add a little shading to it to give it a little more depth. But uh, that's pretty much how I came across, or actually, that's how I wanted to come across on my page.
So, how much of your um, characters? How do you build your story around your characters? Do the story manifest through them, or do you come up with ideas and situations to throw your characters in?
A lot of actually, this is built around loosely around my family, so it's situations of my family that actually come that usually influences me with my storylines. So, say for instance, um, this last comic is about the older son getting his license, and this was exaggerated to a lot of degree. But I wanted to put something in here to remind me that when my older son got his license to drive. So that's that's pretty much how I see most of my books going.
So basically, it's imitation of real life.
Correct.
And do you do that in all of your storytelling, or
Yeah, because this next one's actually going to be similar in nature. I don't want to give away too much about it, but it it will have influence of what has happened in our family life.
how many issues have you created so far?
As of right now, I have seven, and I'm already working on number eight. I'm like got designs and already started writing the script and everything for it.
So when you're creating your characters, when you're drawing, when you're writing your scripts, what kind of programs do you use? What kind of tools do you use? Let's start with the writing of the script. What kind of tools do you use to write your comic book scripts?
Well, I was using just a regular notepad, but I found this one application that I've been enjoying using called Beat. It's free, and I know that I can go to this application specifically to write all my scripts, and everything will be in that application itself.
Okay. And then from the script, you go to start developing your characters or start developing in your
I will
art.
do a rough draft first, a
And
really, really rough draft,
and
and
what program do
I
you
use
use?
Procreate to. It's an iPad application um, that I've been using for years. So I do a really, really rough draft, like panels on one page, and get a rough draft then, and then I will actually start doing full page rough drafts. That way, I can visualize. And sometimes when I rough draft something, it may change completely.
So after your rough drafts, you move
I
to
move to what they call inking, and then I will then start to color it in, shading, special effects if
and do
I
you do
want.
do all this in the same program?
I do,
Okay.
and it has multiple layers that you can actually add different types of special effects again, and so on.
Okay. And then after you're gotten everything worked out, all your panels and everything, and all your pages, you moved to publishing.
Well, let's back up. So, in order for me to, when I add lettering, I actually use Photoshop, which is a little better for me to use. Procreate doesn't exactly have a good way to actually add text easily, so I use Photoshop to do that, and then I actually flatten those and then put it in a PDF.
Okay. And then you go off to your
Right.
printer, and you're printing with which company?
It's Kablam. It's out of Florida. I used to live like maybe 2 or 3 blocks away from this place and had no idea I was going to be publishing with them. It was kind of weird when I found out where they were located. So yeah, and they actually have a online content where you can actually purchase digital comics as well as physical comics as well.
And they can go to kablam.com, or where do they go to get your to if someone wanted to buy some of your comics, where do
So
they go
if
to?
you wanted to buy my comics, you could actually go to thefamilyorbitz.com, and there's links to going out to Indie Planet and purchasing the comics there if you wanted to, or you reach out to me either way.
Okay, so now if you here's a question I didn't we prearranged our questions, but I'm going to throw a question at you that we
Uh
didn't prearrange. Okay,
oh.
so if you, Charles Davenport, talking to the people who are watching, who are looking to create their own comic, um, what would advice would be for them?
Usually, what I tell people, the hardest thing about actually creating something is your first character or your first idea, what you consider original. And I would suggest uh, once you have that first creation, is to maybe check around your surroundings for inspiration. And that's kind of what I did with my family's my inspiration. Um, and I would anyone who wants to draw, I always tell them that we need more artists in the world, and I try to encourage them to do so. So whenever I see someone who wants to draw on their iPad or something like that, then I say, hey, use Procreate. It's really cheap, and use a pencil if you can. Or I mean, if you would prefer to do paper and pencil, just draw. That's all I'm saying. Put more art out in the world.
So do you sketch any of your art out on regular paper before you start going to the computer, or do you always just start with the computer?
No, I had issues in the past with my family saying I wasn't good enough, so I have this issue with pencil and paper
Oh,
sometimes.
I see.
But
Well,
I do sketch from time to time to get an idea out as quickly as possible. Sometimes you have those instant ideas in your head that you want to put down, and if you don't have something near you, a pen and paper will do
okay. So
as well.
what's next for Charles Davenport? Are you going to continue Family Orbits, or are you going to start a new series or come up with a new something different?
Well, I'm working on number 8 right now of the Family Orbits, and this next idea might actually spin off into something else. I'm big into Star Trek, Star Wars, um, mostly Star Trek, because I I just love the idea of it, the optimism. But Ort, the main character, is part of a scientific fleet, and I may want to spin him off into his own show, or I say show,
His own series.
his own
Yeah,
series.
everybody writes and creates for their own reason. Whatever writing inspires you, either in television or in comic books or just reading novels or short stories. Everyone is inspired differently from different mediums. And for
Mm,
me, it was always television and comic books, lots of comic books. So just remember when you're creating your own comic, your own book, short story, you want to do it for yourself. You don't want to do it for other people.
right.
It's a grand idea to think that you're going to write the next great American novel and get it published from a mainstream publisher and live on the high life of being an author. But somewhere in that you're going to lose that.
Right.
So
Whenever I first came up with the idea of doing a comic book, it's been years and years ago that I've always wanted to do this. Again, thanks to you and my wife, my family, I've been able to do this. I I knew I wanted to do a comic book. I just needed the inspiration. I needed someone to push me.
okay, so last question: where can people find you on the World Wide Web? You mentioned familyorbits.com.
Right.
Or do you have a social media presence? Are you on Facebook or
I
Instagram?
am on Facebook. I'm mainly on Instagram. You can find me there. I may not post as much, but I do post a few times. I'm trying to get a little better at it. It's not my forte.
And your username for your Instagram?
Um, CMDJ
CMDJ
Designs.
Designs. And we'll post it. We'll post it right here because I just forgot what he said.
I, I was going to change it, but I already started posting a bunch of stuff on Instagram under that name, so I'm not going to change it at this point. But it does have the face of Ort on there, so you'll see it.
Okay. So Charlie and I call him Charlie. I've known him for
Good God.
30
Yeah.
some years.
Yes.
But it's two Charleses basically.
Mm.
But we have another day of show to do here in Kokomo at QuadCon, which is at the Markland Mall, which is right across the street from where we're at right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
And we're going to be there till 4 o'clock today. And then, of course, by the time this episode airs, it'll be a week later. But you have another show coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Harrisonville. Forget what the mall's called, but it's actually being run by
We'll link it right here.
right Apex Comics in Harrisonville. They do it every year right around Halloween. So yeah.
Okay, great. And then my next show will be at Pulp Fest in Mars, Indiana, which is a week from this weekend. So if you're in the Mars, Pennsylvania area and you want to come in and celebrate things that are pulp and action adventure and kind of stuff that I write, that's where I'll be, and I'll post a link right here. So, guys, that's going to be it for this week. We got things to do. We got to
Yep.
get out there and sell some more of our creations.
Yep.
And I hope that this week coming, will find you creating your own stuff, and you find a little inspiration if you're creating your own comic, or even if you're just writing your own book.
Just create something.
Right. Remember what I always say: stories matter. So,
Yep.
guys, until next time, here is your moment of inspiration.
The great Jack Kirby once told me that the Hulk was stupidity, that the harder you beat on it, the stronger it becomes. So I've always tried to, when I do in a character, I want to be able to summarize it in one sentence. And Dreadstar is an anarchist with a magic sword who has no second act. He's really good at toppling evil empires and not so good at the follow-up.